Welcome everyone to the second Twitter space leading to the Solcon Infinity conference taking place on the 25th of October as we celebrate 20 years in the industry. Last week, we spoke about space tech and how it's at the forefront of scientific research and commercial ventures. This week, we will focus on exploring AI opportunities and its global impact. I'm Jeanette Teu, your host for today's session. Joining us today, we have Andile Ngcaba, our founder and chairman, and Pramod Venkatesh, our CEO. They will be sharing their profound insights and expertise in the realm of AI. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Today, we're delving into the world of artificial intelligence, a technology that has not only taken the world by storm, but is poised to revolutionize industries, economies, and societies on a global scale. So whether you're an AI enthusiast, a business leader, or simply curious about AI's incredible possibilities, stay tuned for an enlightening conversation on AI opportunities and its global impact. Let's dive in. I'll start with you, Andile. AI and generative AI has taken the world by storm. How can Africa utilize this for the betterment of its people?
Thank you very much, Jeanette, and thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. I really think that, we are almost a week away from next Wednesday. We all are looking forward to it and to have a much more richer conversation. But to say, Pramod is more a scholar in the topic of AI, than me. But I will sort of, present what I truly believe that this is going to, I'm going to just use a metaphor here of a mobile phone, right? The world before mobile phones and the world where mobile phones are now common, right? Or the world before the internet and the world now that the internet is pervasive. If you look at the profound impact to society of a mobile device on one side, or the internet on the other side, AI will be 10 times more in terms of impact to society than what we have seen in the mobile environment or generally the internet itself, right? Now we take mobile for granted because, it's just in your pocket, or for you to Google, get into the internet, get into the social media, it's things that we take them for granted. They are with us. And now we even use the word that says, let me Google this. So if you look at the profound nature, how society has been changed by that, to be honest with you, artificial intelligence is going to make mobile phone revolution, the internet revolution, including social media, almost literally something of the 18th century, as something that is very archaic and old. I'm trying to present here to illustrate what this is going to change. It's music, composing music is going to impact that, right? Writing generally, is going to impact that. Whether, art, production of art is going to impact that, and just doing services, whether those services are online or in whatever way, including medicine. If you take, advanced medicine such as, radiology, these things, AI can be able to read some of the scans, whether MRI or whatever. Now, the impact, there is no industry, not in a single industry, that will not be impacted by AI. I'm just picking up few, but you can talk about everything. It's not just about information, it's everything. Software development itself. Today, AI can write better code than humans, right? Now, we need a society to be prepared for this. And a lot of people are beginning to realize it, but others, they still question whether truly AI will have an impact. Let me stop here, but to just illustrate the extent of the impact, I would say to anyone, whether you're an entrepreneur or you have a job or you are at school, high school, or university, this is the subject you need to understand. Whether you want to study anything, you need to learn and understand generative AI. Today, there are people who are prompt engineers. I mean, they do fantastic things. And therefore, it is something I will advise even you, Jeanette, as a marketing guru, I mean, digital marketing, you need to now understand how do you use AI in your function as someone who drives marketing, basically as a career, or digital marketing, or for instance, a lot of things that are related to, branding, online marketing, digital marketing, all of those areas. AI can do so much to advance your career. I mean, it doesn't matter which field you are in. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andile. That was very great insight. I mean, I think a big spoiler for everyone who's going to be attending the conference next week, Wednesday, is we actually going to be giving out a chat GPT booklet, which you will actually have with you. So AI is not, like the chairman said, AI is in everything we do, marketing, conferencing, and engineering. So I think maybe let's take a step back and I'll ask you, Pramod, given your background in AI, could you share some insights into Solcon Capital's strategy in the field of artificial intelligence?
Thank you, Janet, and thanks, Chairman, for sharing your vision. I think that is quite important in terms of the way AI has taken over almost every industry there is. And as Solcon Capital, we have a very strategic AI perspective, and that is one of the most important aspect in terms of how we differentiate Solcon Capital from the other typical investment houses, right? So one of the most important aspect is if you look at as Solcon Capital, we kind of divide this into three buckets, right? So one is obviously in terms of our portfolio companies, in terms of how AI can be inbuilt into them. And as we can see in our portfolio companies, already there are companies which are already investing in AI or are already leveraging AI. But we are also now looking to see how other portfolio companies in our under Solcon Capital can utilize AI or build products and services around AI to enhance their offering. The other one is actually for Solcon Capital themselves, for as ourselves internally to utilize AI to understand various different factors of our operations, right? So this would involve, and as part of Solcon Capital, we have actually built an AI platform for basically doing portfolio analysis, portfolio management, understanding of valuations, and all of these aspects which revolve around monitoring our portfolio companies. We are able to leverage AI, and a platform called Solcon 360 has been built in, which actually utilizes AI to understand various financial statements, various financial instruments, to understand and model the behavior, and also to be able to also look into the future and predict the performance of these companies. So that is something which we have actually built in internally as Solcon Capital, and we are continuing to kind of refine it and build a model based on all the data points which we are collecting for based on that. And the third aspect is mainly around upskillment. Now, we do understand that as AI, we definitely do believe that it is not just we utilize it internally, but could we actually be able to help other companies or help startups or help various individuals or people from various different places to be able to understand AI. So there is also in a kind of way Solcon Capital is working with, for example, the likes of Cortex Hub with the likes of other initiatives where we are actually able to take our expertise in AI to be able to utilize that and help various different communities through as part of our community building programs as well.
Okay, great. As you're mentioning here now, that Solcon Capital is helping a lot of businesses to use AI, while the desire to integrate AI is widespread among enterprises, I think you'll notice that legacy companies often face challenges in doing so. What proactive steps do you think they can take to ensure successful integration of AI within their established organizations?
Yeah, that's a very good question, right? See, one of the most important aspect as part of integrating AI is the difficulty in terms of reskilling your employees, right? Because what typically happens is AI is not something which is a product or a platform which you can just put in and plug and play and expect it to perform. There is various levels of artificial intelligence. Now, just let's take a look at the ability of taking your existing data and be able to train your models. So that effectively means before you even adopt artificial intelligence in your industry, you need to be able to first have a mechanism to be able to store the data in a proper fashion, be able to extract the data in a presentable format. So that kind of involves itself before you even think about implementing AI, your data strategy has to be perfected, right? So that is very important. Now, once you have perfected and ability to archive your data, ability to extract the data and be able to present it in a meaningful way, then you kind of have to look at what are the problem statements which you are willing to solve in your businesses. Now, either the product itself is able to, uh, you know, share it with as a product which the company can do and sell it to on sell it, or it is using artificial intelligence basically to enhance their own operations. So depending on how you look at it, then it starts in terms of understanding how you can take the existing data and to be able to build the models which you want to look at it, right? I mean, we'll give you an example. I mean, there are many companies which actually started out as basically in an industry of just collecting data, right? Or providing notifications. But then very soon they understood that the data points which they had itself is such meaningful, and they actually built products and solutions out of it and started offering it as a meaning, as a solution to enhancing their own product portfolio. I mean, you take Google for example. That's how they did it, right? Now AI becomes the bread and butter of Google, for example, right? So that is one aspect which we need to understand. And then finally, it comes into the upskilling of the people, right? Now, this is where the employee upskilling becomes important, because it's very important not just to understand what AI is, or you just need AI engineers. You also need to sensitize your employees so that they don't have a misconception of what the AI generates, right? Because remember, most of the time, we almost have a perception in our mind that whatever the AI gives is true, right? Which is not exactly the case. There needs to be a lot of understanding to understand that this is a model which is not 100% accurate. You always get nearby accuracy, and but then you still need to apply your intelligence to reach and take it to the next post. And this we have seen multiple times, where I think you have read where they have used chat gpt without understanding, and quoted a specific case for which that case never existed in the first place, right? And the reasoning is because we are almost used to the process of thinking that whatever we type into a platform, what it gives, it is real. Whereas with AI, it is not so. So the ability to understand that artificial intelligence as humans can make mistakes is the first sensitization which needs to be done for employees, because a lot of places we do see that there is AI which you build in, and everyone thinks the output coming in is gold standard, and they take it, and then they see that they have missed something out. So this is one of the most important aspect of skilling, which needs to be taking place when you put AI into an enterprise.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Pramod. I think going back to what you mentioned, Chair, about the different industries that will be impacted by AI, the creative industry has gone through a significant transformation due to emergence of generative AI. This raises the question, does this transformation imply that humans will no longer play a role in the creative industry? Or what measures can we take as the creative industry to equip and adapt the workforce for this new landscape? I think Pramod touched a little bit on the upscaling, but let's maybe delve deeper into the creative industry on how we can equip our people.
Yeah, let me thank you very much, Jeanette. I mean, like any technology that's new, it brings a lot of nuance, challenges, opportunities. I think the issue is more than balance. But let me sort of give this in maybe four buckets or layers. The first layer would be just about technology itself. Look, AI before, has been there for some time, but it has been there in silos. Computer vision, neural networks, natural language processing, etc. And these operated in a silo way. So these generated pre-trained transformer models, or commonly known as GPT, integrates almost everything. It takes images, words, everything. That it can put it together. No more to treat things in that silo approach, basically. But that is where now a lot of things are basically quite becoming interesting, in the sense that when you talk about creative, whether it's music or art or in whatever form of art, I mean, even if you take news for that matter, the biggest issue today, you can use AI engines to generate news. There are hundreds of thousands of new channels of news that are produced by AI bots, which you cannot differentiate between a human and the machine itself, right? And these news are collected and produced. So we are going to get into an environment whereby to differentiate between an artistic piece done by a human being or an artistic piece done by AI, we are now getting into that realm of unable to differentiate. Or we are going into an environment whereby we might not differentiate a news reader, whether this news reader on television is truly human or is an AI, right? And also, we are going into, a symphony in orchestra that can be produced by AI, whether this would be done by an individual or this could be an AI generated. There are so many areas we can talk about. But the thing for me, that I would say we need to think about, rather than to fight technology, let us learn and make it something that can assist humanity to develop and evolve, right? Back to technology itself, right? There are people, who have created or what is called, hallucination, data, basically whereby people pull data itself and create huge, large images out of it, whether they are video or still, for instance. This is a new art form that we see today, which is beautiful and quite creative, right? So there are, the creative sector has always been at the core of humanity. You can go back hundreds of years, whether you go into the feudal system, whether you go into, art form has always been at the center of bringing, the human soul and the individuals and people together, whether this is in a form of a play or whether this is in a form of theater, whether this is in a form of anything. I mean, as other people say, we are, souls after all. Now, AI is beginning to enter this realm, right? And my advice to a lot of practitioners is that let us learn, understand this rather than to fight. If you look at some, for instance, NFT, basically today, I mean, one of the things we're doing next week, we're launching an NFT gallery. Some NFTs today are AI generated and they have value, they have so much value in them. So we need, in my view, understand where the world is, right? We need to be able to understand the difference, I mean, between the real world and this AI world. We need to understand the fact that we are not going back. I mean, we just need to find a way, how do we coexist, with this AI world in the digital ecosystem? There is no turning back. There's no turning back. And the issue that's going to be, again, the challenge is what is the truth about something. We need to know, for instance, I mean, there are guys who have developed technologies to put in watermark, what we call digital watermark into things, so that you can know very well that this thing is an AI generated being or this is human. You can differentiate these things by watermarks. I mean, and you can be able, for instance, to protect intellectual property of people, using all this digital watermarking that we see that is evolving, whether it's in data, whether, for instance, it is in art, whether it is in anything that is a product that people need to possess on. Because there is, as I've said, there is, I mean, as Pramod was saying, things are going to blur at some point, whereby we are not going to know, right? When you are looking at a video on YouTube, on any other channel, you will not be able to recognize, whether these are humans or these are AI generated, bots.
Wow, that is an interesting topic. I mean, I think a lot of people, when you talk about AI, especially what you've mentioned now, it's kind of scary, but I think it's this type of innovation is very exciting and will impact the world, not just Africa, immensely. So I think let's maybe jump industries. Let's try and see how AI could help us in fighting crime. We know that South Africa crime is a very, very big issue. So you mentioned computer vision in your previous answer. Um, how will computer vision help us in fighting crime, and how can it help us actually?
There's a borderline here, I mean, Jeanette, between privacy, right, and fighting crime. We always have to be careful to make sure that rights of individuals and privacy ethics are preserved, right? Because whatever method you use to fight crime using artificial intelligence or using computer vision, we must not, as humans, we must not go on the other side by saying that we are now going to infringe in rights of people. So there is a border there that must be maintained, rights of people, rights of privacy, issues of non-bias approach in the way in which your AI models and training are developed. We must all the time be careful not to find ourselves crossing the line, basically, and disregarding issues of bias, whether race or gender or any other. Or also, we must make sure we preserve privacy, basically, of people. We must always operate within the ethics and the realm of respecting those. But having said that, that those areas must be protected. But this technology presents an opportunity for us to be able to understand what is happening and be able to track and be able to do an audit of whatever process in order to make sure that you could present evidence in a court of law. So, yes, it does present that opportunity of evidence in a court of law in the event that there's a big case, for instance, whether of abuse or any other form, it can be able to help us. But on the other side, how do we balance and make sure that, issues of bias, right? Issues of ethics, issues of privacy are respected. That's why other people say that should AI be regulated, which really I advocate for that. It is that balance. You cannot leave that, to just practitioners. It there has to be some form of a global regulatory model that is going to be able to balance these things.
Okay, great. That's amazing. I think Pramod, if you could add to this question in terms of how then do we make sure that biases are not like how do we mediate or how do we work on creating a balanced AI so that we're equal in the eyes of the AI? I mean, we've heard a lot of cases, I think, of the AI in the American countries where it's very biased to fairer skinned individuals. How do we bring AI in Africa and make sure that there's no biases in it?
Excellent question, Janet. And I think this is very, very important, right? And this again comes back to the factor of understanding AI. Because most of the times and primarily the issue happens when you have someone who has developed a model in a country and you just bring it into another country with different cultures and try to utilize the output which comes out of it, right, without making sure that there is enough amount of data of your own country or your own place where you want this AI to work. So obviously, what happens is it didn't then it depends upon the biases of the data set which you have now fed into the system for that to be trained upon, right? And this is the fundamental issue approximately which is causing a lot of people to utilize AI and then finally end up in a place where the AI is actually not performing to the expectations and basically getting into ethical issues as what the chair pointed out. And this is very, very fundamental. So before we even think about, let's talk about understanding what kind of data is available, which can then be put locally, which can then be trained on the local data set. So that the model which you develop then incorporates the cultures, it incorporates the different type of races who are present in that specific area, so that your AI which you develop has the ability to provide you reasonableness without causing any of the biases which are currently present. And this is a very, very important step. And what we generally are seeing, and I think it's very fair to kind of resonate with the chair when he mentioned that there should be regulatory bodies. This is very, very important because what you generally see from a regulatory body is not just about the performance of the AI, but also about how the data has been extracted. What kind of data has been extracted? How was this data even procured? Was there consent to get this data? Right? All of this makes um, the entire aspect of this very ethical, so that the output of the AI can then be trusted to say, well, this is how the decision has been done. But irrespective of that, we have to understand that AI as a whole, if you talk about generative AI or AI, is a tool and it needs to be consumed with human intelligence, right? We should not think about allowing the AI full blown powers as what you think you're replacing a human being, right? And this, the moment we get into that shape, then we are inviting all sorts of problems, right? And this has to be understood and this has to be sensitized across all areas of businesses, right? I mean, we do see today children who are copying or just uh, taking direct output of chat gpt and pasting it in their homework, right? Or writing essays which are generated by ChatGPT. So this is not going to yield any, you know, any maturity or any changes in the behavior, but rather it's going to bring us back, because more we let go of what we think, then it's harmful for us. So the best aspect what we need to understand is, yes, it will help us to reduce our workload because it's writing all the items, but then we need to go through it once, understand it, rewrite it, so that it makes sense that it is not presenting something which it should not be doing. So as long as people understand that AI, like you use a laptop, like you use your mobile phone, like you use your your applications, it is another platform to help you in fast tracking your work. Only then will we see real advances.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Pramod, for that great insights. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's Twitter Spaces on exploring AI opportunities and its impact on global. It has been an incredible discussion, and I'm truly grateful for the insights shared by our fantastic guests, Andile and Pramod. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for future spaces leading up to the Solcon Infinity conference taking place next week on the 25th of October, where we'll delve into even more exciting topics in the world of technology and innovation. Thank you, guys. Goodbye, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.